You're now tuned in to the hottest podcast in the world, the Stay Woke Podcast, right here on the SonicBreakdown.com.
Man, it's time to wake up. Get this cake up. Only thing I care about is switching.
Welcome back to another Stay Woke Podcast. This is DeRa Brinson, and you know the Stay Woke Podcast is presented by the SonicBreakdown.com. If you haven't checked out a review by now, definitely go check one out. We have a new one up there. The latest one I think is on Kendrick's concert. We're gonna have a new one coming out shortly on Gil Scott-Heron's album by our new writer Delmar. So definitely check that piece out, which will be dropping soon. But let's get right into today's topic, and this is gonna be another West to East Coast segment with me and of course Trav. So what's up, Trav?
What's up, y'all? What's good, peoples?
And
glad to be back.
Glad to have you back, bro. Today's we're gonna cover two albums. The East Coast album is gonna be Sean Price's latest work, and then the West Coast album is gonna be Fashawn's latest work as well. But let's start with Sean Price's Imperious Rex, which was released on August 8th, I believe, which is the same date as his death, the anniversary of his death. So before we get into this album, Trav, let's bring the listeners in on your past experience with Sean Price.
Well, I've been listening to Sean Price ever since he was down with Health and Skeleton. Of course, that's the introduction to the world, hip hop world. Very classic duo from the East Coast, Boot Camp Click. They had groups inside a group, and Health and Skeleton was one of them. And he went as Ruckus back then, and his partner was Rockness, and they formed Health and Skeleton. Nocturnal was my first album, and I heard Sean Price on. That's the first Health and Skeleton album. Very raw. I still listen to it to this day. It's always in my rotation during the week. And, when he, I guess, within the mid-2000s, he started going solo. So, he came out with this, he used his government name, which was Sean Price, for a solo career. And I got Monkey Bars, Jesus, I think it was called Sean Price, Jesus Superstar. That's another mixtape he had. He had a whole bunch of mixtapes, but Monkey Bars, my favorite, was when I really, really, really got back into him on a solo career. And this dude has been raw, straight East Coast, lyrics on top of lyrics, straight raw. Well, we was missing that for a while. It was getting kind of whack with the lyrics over here. Everybody was kind of like jumping on waves, Atlanta wave and stuff, and just trying to make music out of their region, which is cool. I mean, which is all right. Artists are artists, but people from New York were starting to like just jump on a wave. Sound like people from different regions, and was kind of losing the New York sound. And Sean Price on the underground scene was kind of keeping that Brooklyn raw, New York City rap. He was kind of keeping it like that with his solo career. And that's when I really got back into him, was with Monkey Bars.
Okay.
I've been listening to him since then. And I have all this. There's so many projects, man. I'm just coming up with my mind. There's more stuff that I have of his, but Monkey Balls is probably like the one where I really, really got back into.
Gotcha.
He was really going hard. Came out with
that's definitely one of my favorite of his albums prior to this. Mike Tyson was my first album, my first introduction to Sean Price, and from that's when I was like, oh, yo. Because that, to me, the Mike Tyson album,
right?
Yeah, that's a really good album. If you haven't listened to it, everybody out there, definitely check that album out. That really set the tone for me of really enjoying his music. Then I went to Monkey Bars, and then I went to Songs in the Key of Price. That was another.
Songs in the Key of Price.
That's another album those are the three that I own, that I had prior to this album. I've heard a lot of his mixtapes and everything like that, but I don't physically own them or have them on my phone. But those three albums I have, and I do go back to them at random different times and various occasions. So I want to bring it now back into this album, Imperious Rex. What was your first thoughts when you heard that this album was dropping, and then what were your first thoughts when you first heard when you first initially heard the album?
I knew that Bernadette, which is his wife,
mm-hmm.
was going to make sure that we got a Sean Price album that was going to sound just as raw or even better than Mike Tyson. I knew it. She was determined. I knew all the producers that was going to probably be involved with it. It was some surprises that I knew that Bernadette was going to make sure that she had this album done, and it was going to come out to be a raw album. When the pre-order link went up, they gave us Definition of God on the pre-order, and I think Imperious Rex, the title track, we got a little bit after that when we pre-ordered it. And I knew it was going to be a raw album. And I knew it was going to sound great. And I knew it was going to sound like Sean Price went in the studio and just did it right before, like a month before it dropped. And that's exactly what I got. It's an LL project, man. To me, I know already that this is going to be on my list of one of my favorite albums of 2017. Okay. I already know that. That's concreted. There's 2 albums that's concreted. That's one of, there's three albums that's concreted. It was one of the 3 that are concreted for this year's, I don't care what comes out now. I knew that made my list. Like, I don't care if what comes out. Even if Nas drop, it's still gonna make my list.
Gotcha. What do you think about production-wise? What was your favorite production?
Was so crazy. My favorite production on here was it was called Niggas.
Oh,
MF Doom did that.
Yeah, the Niggas, the Ethiopian.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the Ethiopian word for Kendrick alluded to it on To Pimp a Butterfly, saying that Negus is the Ethiopian word for king.
Right.
So I thought that was an interesting take on that idea as well, and that principle as well, and to get some lyrics from MF Doom, because it's been a minute, and I heard that he's coming out with the album, but I don't want to detract from this album. But
he is.
Any other tracks that really
is coming out?
Oh, okay. We definitely gonna have to do a podcast on that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be ill. The other track, of course, the 3 lyrical P's. You know I'm gonna love that one.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean,
that was a good track.
I mean, it's a whole bunch of joints on here, man. I mean, I can't like this. This is like a full album listening through with no whack joints on here, man.
That Dead or Alive joint with Bun B. That Dead or Alive track was pretty. That Dead or Alive track was pretty tight too. What about the lyrics to you? Is there any particular lines or particular tracks or ideas, philosophies in tracks that stood out to you that really pulled you in?
I think Imperious Rex, the whole introduction track, that was sick.
What about the feature?
Spit that monkey shit, nigga. Be gorillas, huh?
Oh yeah. Yo.
We gorillas. We ape don't kill ape, man. That was. I mean. We had like a little funny intro with that when he was starting to talk about his girl and about to have sex, and he stopped him and what the fuck, man? Spit that monkey shit. Ape don't kill ape.
Yeah, I thought that was
gorillas, nigga. He just started going in. I mean, that was real funny to me. Well, I was just going to say that every track, man, is just saying so much ill shit, man. Everything stood out for me. I just. It's just the thing that I liked about Sean Price. He spit this raw ill shit. But then he can flip it and be so comedic, like a comedian too, on a lot of tracks. Like he throws that humor in there as well. After he done told somebody he'll punch up his fist through your whole skull. After that, he'll say some funny shit. You know what I mean? Like that was a funny thing about Sean Price. He always added some comedy to it, some humor to it, even though he was saying some of the rawest, craziest shit.
Yeah,
he'll throw some of that in there.
And that's what
he did that throughout the whole album.
And that's what I have to say. I agree with you on that. And for me, that's the thing that stood out lyrically, is he does have that aggression, that grittiness that you expect from an East Coast rapper, that feel that, and you definitely feel that he's putting on for his side of the country, his side of the world, and the views that he sees in the street. But at the same time, like, we're all human, we're all diverse, we're all complex creatures. Like, you can't be angry all the damn time. Like, you can't be ready to fight all the time. Like, there are times when you're going to be sad, you're going to be loving, you're going to be happy, you're going to be joking, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like he really captured that. You definitely get the emotional tone and the aggression that you expect and you want from Sean Price, but you also get that, to me, a different side with Bernadette, his wife on there. You just feel the emotional connection. And it provided, for me at least, is a little bit of sadness, just because that he's not here and that she's dealing with that, but yet they still gave us such a great piece of work. You know what I'm saying? To kind of commemorate his honor and the man that he was in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was great, as well as just the collection of people that came for this project, and everybody. You just feel the energy that everybody's like, nah, we gotta give our best. We gotta really represent.
You know what's so crazy though?
Mm-hmm.
You know what's so crazy? We have to give a lot of credit to Bernadette Price, man, because before he died, he only had 4 tracks that was done. Only 4 tracks was done.
Yeah, I didn't even know that part.
She orchestrated and put together. She orchestrated and put together the rest of the album. He only had 4 tracks done.
Damn.
So she put the rest of the album together. to all the producers. She wouldn't, she got that P verse when P was alive. She saw P about 3 weeks before he passed, maybe a month before he passed away for Prodigy and got that verse.
Oh, wow.
Heavy Fraud had that verse in the stash. Heavy Fraud did that track.
Wow.
And she spoke P and she saw Prodigy, and Prodigy was happy that he was going to be part of the project. And, she got that together. She went and dug up that Wu-Tang track, that Cliques and Clans joint.
Oh, yeah. That I forgot about to mention that. That's one of my favorites.
Another standout joint.
Yeah.
Yes, man. That was ill. You could tell it was. I kind of figured it wasn't a brand new recorded track.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can tell it wasn't just Sean Price's verses, and then they added the rest of it. It's something they had worked on a while ago and had it in the stash.
Yeah, and that
song was done for a minute.
Yeah, they blended it together right. Yeah, they blended it together right.
Put it together right.
Yeah, they did. I agree with you.
His daughter going on there.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% that you have to give her credit that she did a wonderful job. He's proud of the work that she put out on his behalf. I would definitely say that. So
she definitely, because she's cool, man. She talks to people back on Instagram and stuff, and I was just kind of talking to her, and she was like happy that fans like myself was appreciative of the album because she really did her thing on that. Visuals, everything, even the cartoon video for Imperious Rex, the title track was dope. Production was so ill, man. We even got Fourth Disciple, another Wu-Tang producer that did a track on there. Alchemist. It's a long list of producers that did that. That was on there. They did their thing on that.
Yeah, it was a very well done project. It was a complete project. The one question I want to ask is, what do you think about the replayability of this album?
What do I think about what?
The replayability. Do you think it's a album that you can go back to often, and is it something that you think you will go back to often?
Hell yeah, man. That's gonna be in my rotation. Especially songs like Niggas and Definition of God, the Clans and Cliques song. The Three Lyrical P's was ill. I just think that I don't you know how rappers are. I think strong with bars. I think I'm gonna be honest. I think Styles P probably got that verse as far as like who had the better verse, because I know that's gonna come up. I mean, even though that's just something that's gonna come up. You got 3 P's on there. Somebody's always gonna see who had the better verse, and I think Styles probably got the better verse on that track.
I would have to.
It's a great track.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think I definitely think that Styles had the best verse on that track. But that did make me come up with a question: if you were to add a 4th P to that album, who would that 4th lyrical P be? Or if you had to replace one of those P's,
if you want to be real technical, about P's, that like whoever, like someone who's supposed to go by a P, it would be PMD from EPMD. He might have been on that track. I know people probably like, oh wow, he ain't been around for a while, but nah, he spit too. Because him and Prodigy did the joint when they was doing the P's, and they traded bars on the track with Prodigy and PMD from EPMD, and they was both going hard. That probably would have put the icing on the cake. You know what I mean? That would have been like for every generation, like boom. You know what I mean? Because first you had EPMD, then you would have had, would have came with Prodigy, then it would have been Sean Price, and it would have been Styles P. That would have covered like all the P's as far as like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or some hip hop MC shit. So yeah, PMD for MPMD, that would have been dope.
That's I didn't even think about. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
Yeah, because he used to go as the P too. He used to call him P.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Large Professional that did the track, the extra. You know what I mean? If he would have did the production,
P's all around.
P all around the board.
Yeah, P all around the board. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Extra P.
That would have
been real interesting.
Yeah, that would have been that. Yeah.
But I don't think in the process of me creating that album, I probably wouldn't have thought of all that together.
Yeah.
I don't think so. It probably would have took me a while to even come up with that idea, and I was the one putting the album together. It's not something that's like a fantasy thing, man. That's like that would have been ill. That would have been so ill. Lost Professional on the track, Prodigy, Sean Price, you know what I'm saying, Styles P, and PMD from EPMD. That shit would have been crazy. It would have been called something else. The whole track would be different. Shit would have just been ill.
Yeah, you're right. The feel definitely would have been different. I have 2 more questions in regards to this album. The next question that I would have is, for this album, because I know with certain albums, like on the new music segment that I did with Jason, I said like the Meek Mill's album, for me, the atmosphere that I would see myself playing it in is only like gym related, that type of situation. If I'm going to the gym or, I'm doing workout type
It
of
could definitely
things.
get you hyped for the gym.
That's what I mean. So is there a particular feel that you feel like this album can only go to, or is it it transcends an atmosphere? Like you can play it at any time and anywhere. What is your feel about this album in that regard?
Well, like the production's so ill, it's so raw. This could probably be a gym journey as well. I mean, I just can't get off that production off that nigga song, man. That shit is just hard body. That's like gym. That's like running 100 miles. That's like, that beat's so ill. That track alone could be like a gym track. But the whole album as a collective, man, yeah, I think it'd be for working out. Getting yourself, if you're another rapper, you want to get yourself, you want to sprawl in your mind with some lyrical combat with Sean Price and his lyrics and just getting you hyped up, get your shit tight. That could be a method of training for that as well, man.
Gotcha.
Word up, whole album, because the whole album is straight raw.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Like the beats are raw. It might be two more beats that's a little slower, like Church Bells and Junior Reed. That's a little slower than all the rest of the joints. You know what I mean? I think but then you got the closing. You got one of the closing tracks, Sean Price Family, with him and his wife going in on the track, and then they put remember that All in the Family show?
Yeah.
Remember that show back in the day? They put like a little skit in that shit. That was some funny shit, some humor.
Yeah.
As well as but most of the track is just straight raw, aggressive rawness. With some of the beats are smooth, some of the beats are hard, but the lyrics are straight aggressive. So you need that for the gym and working out, shit like that. Like I said, lyrical sparring, which is self to get your shit tight, and you writing rhymes as well. That would be, for me, that's what I would use it for.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
I'll say for me, I'll say yes, I definitely agree with you that you can rock out to it in the gym because it has that motivational tone, that aggressiveness to push you further than necessarily you want to push yourself, but to get better results. So I can definitely see that kind of feel. But I also feel because of the content is so, some of it is so, it's going to sound negative, but some of the content is so heavy that I also feel like that you can also, it's one of the albums where you can also sit down, like literally just sit down and just let it ride. If you're doing other things, you can have it playing in the background and then, and still taking in the deeper lines that he's giving. So I think it has a balance of emotional ranges. I don't think it's all one tone. I do think it is heavy, aggressive in his flow, but the content is so, like I said, so in depth, so intricate. And in the themes that he's bringing up, because like you said, Neek is way different than the 3 Lyrical P's versus Dead or Alive. The content is way different on those 3 tracks, but it's all on the same album, and the album still feels cohesive. So that's what I took away from it.
I just want to quote one rhyme from one of the tracks, man. And that's from the joint I was talking about, the nigga's joint. Man, he said this guy was talking crazy, bro. Believe in me, Paul, the same way you believe in your God, because Allah, Jesus, a master parole, a master the ball, spelling ratchet, spelling your car, big of a homicide. What the fuck is the matter with y'all? Like, he just kills me, he just like, believe in me, Paul, the same way you believe in your God, but you believe in Allah, Jesus, a master parole. Like, that was ill right there.
Yeah, because that line, there is still the aggressiveness of, his bars, but he's saying something. Like,
oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's still saying something.
Word.
I just think that this album has a lot of potential in exposing people to different things that they didn't know before, as well as just giving you some straight raw hip hop, like just some raw hip hop, some bars, some good production.
Yeah, boy, if you want some bars, man, and you a fan of like real hip hop shit, most of the shit that I listen to, man, you a '90s cat, you a cat from the early 2000s, you grew up with people from my era around you, whether you're younger or older. That's just one of them joints you gotta have, man.
Yeah.
Do some hip hop shit, like
definitely.
You gotta have that in the stash. You gotta have a part of your arsenal, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Albums like nowadays, people really don't have to buy albums to stream and shit. But an album like this would be purchased, man. You know what I mean? But you get the physical, you go ahead and get your iTunes shit. That way, every device you have, you can download it to your device. You gotta have this joint. You know, I bought this joint. I pre-ordered this joint, man. I mean, I got title on all that shit. This one, certain drinks, I just gotta go out and cop. You know what I mean? This is one of them joints, man. That one and Mike Tyson. His last 3 joints. Sean Price too. This dude's no longer here. This shit is whack. You know what I mean? We lost him and Prodigy. Him first. That was a left field shocker as well. You know, people gotta take heed, man. I mean, he another one that was here for a while, man, doing his thing, going in. And people ain't really giving him his respect until he passed away. You know what I'm saying? This cat's been here since Helter Skelter days and the whole boot camp era. And when hip hop in New York City was sounding kind of like, you know, going the other way and you know, jumping on waves, and not being original, he was out here representing, man. Everybody got to salute this dude just for having them bars and keeping it straight raw. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to him. God bless his family, his daughter, little Sean Price, and his wife Bernadette. They out here repping hard. The whole boot camp clique, Drew High. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully him and P transited to the same place. Him and Prodigy kicking up, listening to the albums right now, kicking it, man. Word up.
First and foremost, Bernadette Price, you did a great job. I believe that Sean Price would be proud and is proud of the work and the project that you put out in his honor for his daughter as well. My heart and condolences goes out to you. And again, you and your mom put out a great project. You should be none but proud. At the end of the day, it's a great project. I definitely think, like you said, people should cop it. People should get it. People should listen to it. The cover itself is great. Like you said, there's comedy, there's introspection, there's knowledge being dropped, as well as, like we just said, just straight bars, production, all of that. The album itself isn't
crazy production.
It's not a long album. It's not a short album. To me, it's just right. It's 16 songs, 51 minutes. So right under an hour. Again, this is an album you should cop. Yeah, definitely your features. And the way that how they have it laid out is well done as well. I think it was perfectly done to end it with Price Family. I think that was perfect, and the beginning as well. I think it just laid out very nicely. I don't think it could have been laid out better.
He brought the Wu through. He got them in. He got a Locksman in there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Of course, he got his boot camp family in there. Buckshot.
Freeway's on there. Yes.
Freeway's on here. That track from Freeway is another joint. That's what I'm saying. This
Prisoner. I forgot. Yeah.
Man, like,
yeah. There's so many. There's so many.
His wife, his daughter. Like.
Yeah. It's a really good album, but we're going to transition into our West Coast album, and the West Coast album that we're going to go through and dive into is that Fashawn Manna. Let me just briefly say that this album, Fashawn's Manna album, was released on August 11th of this year, and it's about 9 songs long. So it is a shorter album, if you want to say. I'm not sure if he's classifying it as an album or an EP. To start off with, Fashawn, being from the Bay, I knew about him for a long time. I wasn't always the biggest Fashawn fan. Not that I had nothing against him. It just nothing early stood out to me. And to preface that comment as well as, my hip-hop beginning started with East Coast, Nas, Onyx, Wu-Tang. So I tend to gravitate towards those sounds more. That's just my sonic preference of things that I like. I tend to gravitate toward East Coast production more, as well as just the kinds of content that they spit. That doesn't mean, again, I will of course fuck with my West Coast rappers and everything. But I think Fashawn did his thing. I think Fashawn did his thing on this album. I think this is a really good album.
He absolutely did.
And I also think The Ecology, his album prior to this, was very good as well. So if you haven't checked that project out, go check that out. But let's get into...
That was Eco. Like, what was that called?
The one Ecology, I think it was. Ecology.
But I had a Nas track on it, too.
Yeah.
Nas did a track with him on it. Got all that inspirational music, man.
Yeah, so...
lyrics, too. All that shit is inspirational, man.
And that's why I paired these two albums together, the Sean Price and the Fashawn, for this particular segment or this episode, is because I felt like both of them are lyrical, definitely lyrical. What is your experience with Fashawn?
Well, I saw him on I remember him being in the same freshman class as like Big Sean, who was Freddie Gibbs. They all came in the game together. Yeah. At first, I was getting him and Big Sean confused because the Sean shit, you know. They came through together in the freshman, but then I started hearing like little freestyles and like mixtapes and shit like 2 years ago. I'm like, oh shit, that's the cat. Because I saw everybody else kind of like get a home in this whole freshman class. I saw Freddie Gibbs end up being with Jeezy. You know, that didn't work out, but he was with him. Big Sean was with Kanye. And I was wondering, I'm like, yo, what happened to Sean cat? He was on there too. I remember him. He had this crazy like a crazy part, like it wasn't a half moon, it was some long shit that he had, and the haircut was ill on the cover. I'm like, yo, this nigga got the extended half moon. So I'm like, yo,
yeah, I know exactly what cover you're talking about. I know exactly what cover.
Crazy. So I'm like, yo, what happened to this dude? I didn't hear nothing from him. Everybody else pretty much finding a home, and then he kind of like popped back up like 2 years ago. I got back in tune with him because I heard that Nas had signed him and Dave East got signed to Nas' late master deal around the same time. I think it was a couple of months, or maybe a month or two apart. But Nas both brought him on. I said, uh-oh. So I know this guy. If Nas brought him on the team, I know he probably got some shit. So I started doing my research. I found the last two projects before this one. This cat's ill. His story is ill. His background is ill. The way he grew up is ill.
Mm-hmm.
His mom being a drug addict is his neighborhood. Even looked at some of the documentary of this dude. I do my research on cats, man.
Fresno cat, man.
Yeah, straight from Fresno. So he out here doing his thing, man. And I know it's very inspirational from his neighborhood and his family to see him do his thing like that, because he could easily be in the streets and doing shit a different way. But
exactly.
He took his hustle and bring it to the rap, and he has something to bring to the table. He has subject matter.
Yeah,
He
content.
has life experience.
Yeah,
he has content.
Yeah, he's a deep brother. He's just not taking things at face value. He is searching deeper, asking those deeper questions, and that's what I gravitate towards in my music. I want my artists, my musician, they don't have to ask the questions that I'm necessarily asking, but I just want them to ask deeper questions, ask more, just dive into it.
You always gonna have the cats that make party in the strip club, commercial shit that's going on the radio, but when you got cats that can still make full bodies of music and come up with projects inspirational and they getting deep, they can also get fun, they can also get raw. That's an all around artist right there, you know what I mean? And I thought I saw in this dude, you know what I mean? He saw that. He saw he came from the real, and he was an artist, just not a rap. He was an artist because he's lyrical. He has subject matter. He has real life experience. He's talking about his experiences. You don't have to be some kind of killer and going outside of that 100 years in jail, came home, and big OG shit all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is your life experience. You being you as yourself.
A real person.
Not trying to be part of a gimmick.
Yeah, a real person.
Yeah. Right. And that's what hip hop needs. So I got respect and I salute brother Fashawn. You know what I mean? Word up, and I see what he's doing for his community. And he's uplifting his neighborhood and all that. He's holding it down for his family.
And that's actually a perfect segue into talking about this particular album, Manna. Let's start with just the title itself. Manna is basically what manna means is just the nourishment from God. It's a biblical term. You can look in the Bible and it's in there, but it's the meaning of it is basically the nourishment that God gives you, that God provides. And that nourishment is how it's referenced is the Bible is that nourishment. The Bible gives you the nourishment that God has said for you to be healthy. Like if it's just like food, you need the proper nourishment to be a healthy, growing person. This is basically that same nourishment, but the nourishment of God to make you the best person you can be. Or that's the way I took it anyways, my interpretation of it. And I got that from, the title track Manna, which I think was a perfect segue, just like we talked about with Sean Price, Imperious Rex, as that being an intro track. Manna, with parentheses Moses, is a perfect introduction to this album. Imperious Rex set the tone and let you get an idea that, like you said, in that first Imperious Rex, there was comedic tones into it, bars in there, the production was great. And Manna for Sean, it's the same principle if it gives you everything that you're going to see in the album in little snippets, but complete totality. He talks about religion in there. I'll talk about nourishing the mind, basically, giving you the proper nourishment that you need. And him being like Moses, I'm going to be the one that gives it to you. Like Moses gave everybody the 10 Commandments. He's given us the things that we need to get that proper nourishment. And that kind of sets the tone. And now just focusing on the production aspect of it, of just the album in general, for me, this was one of the tracks. Manna was one of the tracks that production wise really set the tone. It had a very cinematic feel to it, and it felt like you were embarking on a journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he was very aggressive in his tone, but it's still.
That's my favorite track.
Yeah, that's your favorite track. That's one of my favorite tracks. I would say for me, when it comes to favorite tracks, I would have to go Manna, Afraid, and actually Mother America is my favorite. Like Mother America is my absolute favorite.
That was deep. Yeah, that was a deep joint. You're right. My bad. I almost forgot about that joint, man. That was real deep. That one.
Yeah, the first track and the last track are definitely my favorites. The last track is my absolute favorite. I would say Celebration is probably like my number 2 favorite, and then Manna is my third. The whole production on the entire album, again, it's only 9 songs. It's not that long, but it's long enough, and it's a complete project. You don't feel like you're getting cheated when you get to the end. You feel like he wrapped it up. And it's not, like I said, 9 songs, 31 minutes. Going back to the production real quick, the reason why I really enjoyed Mother America production-wise, there's like an introspection / consciousness within the production. Just the feel of the production. You already know, we about to get in some stuff here. Like he's about to.
Yeah. that did set the tone off. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
It just started.
Yeah, so.
We knew it was going to be some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh. And for me, I'll say this too. This to me is a deeper album. I'll get into about the atmosphere a little bit later. That kind of alludes to where I'm feeling about that. Any other productions that really, really like stick out to you that just the feel of the production for you?
The title track.
Okay.
That was crazy. That production, I like that a lot, man. I don't know, something about that sound.
Yeah, like I said, to me, it felt like you in a movie theater and like shit's about to go down.
Word.
It's about to go down.
Word. That was the feeling, man. That's when that definitely stuck out. That's why I said it was my favorite track.
Yeah. So like I think he thought about the project and the layout of it again, and I think that's very important for artists. I think some artists aren't taking the time to really think about the layout, but the ones that are really standing out are the ones that are paying attention to it. Like we said about Sean Price, going back to that. To me, the flow of it was perfect.
Right.
And the same thing on here, the flow was just
man,
right.
That dude is nice, man. He's ill with it, man.
Yeah.
A different flow. He don't sound like nobody else.
Yep, that's right.
You know what I mean?
He has his own distinct.
Like he got his own shit, man. You know what I mean? He's repping the city.
Yeah, definitely.
He's holding it down.
Yeah.
That's something about the Bay Area that they always got their own sound, like E40, like these cats, man.
Yeah,
they come up with their own their own style.
I want to touch on that real quick, and then I'll get back to what I was going to say about the production. DJ Academics brought that up on Friday's Everyday Struggle with Action Bronson, and they were talking about how New York has kind of lost their sound or their identity in hip hop, where Atlanta has theirs. And DJ Academics said this, that he feels like the only area that really has held on to their sound and hasn't lost it is the West Coast. Is, they have that bounce, that's their sound, they still identify with it. Everywhere else, they kind of in transition. That doesn't mean that New York can't get it back. And again, this is only one man's perspective.
We slowly coming back, because people are starting to see that. I mean, he's pretty much Harlem to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's another one that's part of Sean's camp. I mean, he's not part of his camp, part of the same label.
Yeah.
He's the only one out there he's another one out there he's getting radio airplay. And
yeah, I mean,
you can tell he's not from Atlanta. Like, he's a Harlem cat. Spit that Harlem shit, but he also, spits other shit. He's not that flashy all day guy, but he's a Harlem dude in Harlem fashion, and he sounds like a Harlem cat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys have some. I just think because if you think about the album Nick at Night, that sounds very New York. Joey Badass, Pro Era.
That's New York, though.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's all New York.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's slowly
they're there.
Back. I give credit. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that it's coming back, but it's not. Remember in the 90s, like it was New York had their sound. There was no denying it. There's no question about it. There was New York, there was Cali, and then there was still Atlanta sound. They had their sound, which was different.
And that's the problem that I have with New York and the East Coast, man. Like, I mean, I know we want to sell records out here. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean you have to jump on the bandwagon because you see another region is winning with the sound. I don't think you should just jump on that wave because you see them winning or selling records because they have a certain sound.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that you can't win with your sound.
You win with your own sound. Being the fact now that the sound is kind of it's coming back. It was missing for a while. Mm-hmm. Maybe you should just bring the sound back instead of you know what I mean? And then people that's been missing that sound will gravitate towards that because, that's what we are accustomed to. And now we see it coming back. You can win just by being yourself and keeping your sound. I mean, that's how I see it, man. I mean, I've seen this whole shit unfold, man.
I agree. I agree.
A kid coming up.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Crazy.
I'm right there with you. I think it has the ability to come back, and I think it will come back. I think it's with music, with fashion, with everything. There's cycles. it's their cycles.
Word.
So I think it will have a resurgence, and I don't think it's going to be as long as people at this time are anticipating. But I want to get back to this Fashawn album, and what I was saying prior is about the production. Some of the things that did stick out to me production wise was the number 3 track, Afraid. To me, it had like a Talib Kweli, like Beautiful Struggle kind of undertone to it.
Yeah, it did.
Just that vibe. And then the production on number 4, Proud. Definitely, to me, I definitely hear the James Brown influence of Say It Loud on Black and I'm Proud. Not even just in the words that he says, but actually in the production of the track. I'm not quite sure how they got that sound. I don't know if they just strictly sampled it, but because I have that album, the James Brown album, and I played it, just to compare it. And there's enough of a difference that makes me feel like they didn't sample it. They just got similar sounds to produce that feel. But I don't know. I'm not for sure. So don't Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all y'all don't kill me for that one. And
I mean, just like his last joint, you know what I'm saying? It's the same. Like he mixed his production for a Fashawn project. It's gonna sound great, man, because he used kind of not the same, but the kind of same. Like the flow is an even flow in the whole album.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the way he does his projects, man. So he makes it go out and get the producers to hook him up with his flow.
Yeah, I definitely.
As far as sounding.
Yeah, you can definitely hear that. And one of the tracks that really stuck out to me production-wise was Celebration. And the reason why it stuck out to me is because in the very beginning, the lovely piano and guitar referencing Stevie Wonder's Do I Do. And that track, or that Stevie Wonder Do I Do has been sampled a million times. One that instantly comes to mind is when Ja Rule did it. I definitely like this Celebration better than I like the Ja Rule version of it. I just felt the difference that I liked in this approach of taking that sample of Do I Do is that they slowed it down and they made it feel a more jazz, acoustic, warm feeling than you normally get when you sample Do I Do. They usually make the tempo a little bit faster, more upbeat, to play off of how upbeat it already is, the feel that it already has, where in this album, I felt like they toned it down for that Celebration on this song, which I really enjoyed, and set up the lyrical component of that song, which was about kind of like that balance of celebrating the things that you have accomplished, but still being present to the other things that might have took away from that celebration. Like, you're celebrating your partner getting out of jail, but just in the fact that you're celebrating your partner getting out of jail, he had to go in jail for you to have the celebration. So like, kind of that, is it really a celebration if we have to celebrate that you got out of jail? Just that idea of taking that duality of it, like I said, of, a good time and a bad time, and viewing it from 2 different spectrums, I thought was really, really nice. And sonically, it grooved to me. It worked for me. So that's why it was my second favorite track. Now
Crowd was good too, man.
Yeah. And that's a perfect segue is I want to go into the lyrical component, and Proud kind of highlights that, because especially like in the beginning, how they had on Pride of basically like giving you that information about the culture, about Marcus Garvey, all the things that we should know or we should learn in the school systems. And I can't speak for everybody. Again, I only can speak about my experience. When I was in school, I didn't learn none of that shit in school. I learned it because my grandmother.
I ain't learned about Marcus after school. I had a teacher that was cool. My senior, I had a teacher that I kind of I went for a mentor. She was my 11th grade teacher. Her name was Miss Hook. She didn't want to make sure I graduated high school because I was doing, I was out in the street and doing certain shit. And she used to give us history lessons on people that they don't teach in school. She made sure we knew about Marcus Garvey. Even cats like Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seals and
Stokely
those
Carmichael,
guys, man. Like, the Panthers. But Marcus Garvey, like, you don't really hear. You might see a picture up or something. They teach us Martin Luther King, which is cool. Definitely need to know that. But they don't really spend too much time on Malcolm X. They don't spend too much time on Marcus Garvey. They were like honorable mentions, but they teach us about Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and Rosa Parks. But guys like Marcus Garvey.
It's gonna sound fucked up, like but they teaching us the people that they're acceptable, that they're okay with.
Right.
And so.
But yeah, basically, yeah.
So, like I said, for me, I didn't learn none of that in school. I didn't have any mentors that were teaching me that. I know about it, and I knew about it from an early age till now. Like I said, one of the first books I remember that I can actually physically remember, like sitting down and reading, was Before the Mayflower. And that's because my grandmother said, "Come here, you're going to sit down, and we're going to read this book." And then learning all this history of my people and where we came from, and the great things that we have given to this country as well as just the world, is the things that she wanted to instill into me, that to make me understand to never look down on our people, that we're a strong, great people. When people talking about that black magic, like, that's not something that was new to me. In my mind, my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, my uncle, they instilled that in me at a young age, that for me, that, like I said, I never had to really think about it. I just knew it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was instilled in me so long, just like, if you have good parents, they're going to instill in you to have manners, saying please and thank you. You get to a point when you're an adult that you don't even really think about it. Somebody does something, you just say, you just intrinsically say please or thank you. That's how it was for me about just being black and being proud of being black and being proud of the accomplishments that we have, and just knowing as a people, we have greatness in us and we can do great things.
Absolutely, man.
In that track, it just reminded me that not everybody is privy to those teachings and things like that. And so if you don't see those things and you don't know about those things, how can you have that? Not saying that you can't have it, but it makes me feel like it's harder for you to have that same pride or that idea of black magic if you don't know the great things that we've done. And so that just really highlighted it in that track.
It's a lot, man.
Yeah, and he goes through so much in that track, just education wise. And I just thought it was well done.
And the information's out here, man.
Yeah,
it's definitely out here.
Yeah, you can get it. It's
I
just
want to touch on something real quick. Back when I was, I think I was 19. I think I was around 19 or 20. I had entered a program in Harlem called a Strive program. It's basically a boot camp, like a job readiness boot camp for those who want to get off the street or to get their life together. A lot of people come through there. They come home from jail. They go to this program. One of our assignments, we had to go to the Schonberg. It's called a Schonberg Museum. It's a library as well, and the whole library is full with African American people that you don't know about, that were heroes, like the first sailors of it's a whole library full of that. You can just go in there one day and spend like an hour or spend a few hours in there just reading up on different people that was important in this world that was African American, people that you've never heard of before, like never heard of until you went to that library. It's called the Schonberg Museum. If you're ever in Harlem, if you ever come out here, anybody that's from the area, and y'all visit Harlem, you have to go to the Schonberg Museum to get some history, because it's more than the people that we know. These are the people you can just go in there and actually just like close your eyes and go into the index cards and just pick one out, and you'll learn some amazing stuff, man. Some amazing history about our people. I just want to put that in there, being that it was on that topic.
Oh yeah, no,
I had to learn a lot by myself. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely appreciate that, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the track that made me realize how fortunate I was with my family. Like I said, I think my grandma is the greatest woman in this world. Like, and nobody's going to ever change my mind about that. And those are the things that I appreciate that she gave me. Those are the lessons. And you don't realize certain things like that until you realize other people that don't have those luxuries. And that is a privilege that I had, was the fact that she knew that stuff and that she was willing to give it to me. And she was adamant about giving it to me. So again, shouts out to my grandma. Love you.
Shout out to your grandmother. Shout out to my grandma Emma as well. Playing when she was 103 years old.
Oh, wow.
I had a chance to live with her as a kid I could say that the mid to late 90s. I was like the last kid that she helped raise, and she was already in her hundreds at that time.
Ooh, strong woman.
I was a little kid. She was teaching me things, yeah. And she was through that whole Martin Luther King era. Actually, she got in the news for being the oldest person in town to vote.
Oh, wow.
And also, she got a authentic letter from Dr. King himself.
Oh, I know she treasured that. I know she treasured that.
Yeah.
Boy. So yeah, shout out to your grandmother as well, man.
Shout out to your grandmother as well for teaching you the knowledge, man, making sure you was right with your knowledge, making sure she passed on to everything that she endured on this planet, and showing a black pride, and just making sure you had that carry on tradition to the next generations, man. Salute to that. Yeah,
I definitely appreciate that, and shout out to all the grandmas out there that are instilling that knowledge and just really just being there, man. You don't those grandmas out there, they might not realize how much of an impact that they have on these youth, but they're changing people's lives. They're changing how they view the world and making it a better place. Because I know for a fact, for me, if it wasn't for my grandmother, things could have been a lot different. So
Word.
Going back to this album though, Like I said, for me, the production is all there. The lyrics is there. It has a high replayability. One of my least favorite tracks is, I'm sorry to do it to you, Snoop. I love you, bruh. But Part of My G is just really not a track for me. It was my least favorite track. I can listen to it. I don't necessarily have to skip it. It's a track that, to me, it's a club track. It serves its purpose to break up the album, give a little bit of levity, a fun feeling. And then it's followed by Celebration, which still keeps that kind of energy, but kind of tones it down and gives a more, what I considered a true representation of life. Everything's not always great. Everything's not always bad. It usually ends up right about in the middle. And that's how Celebration felt to me. What about you? Overall, how would you feel, just the feel of this album, like the atmosphere that you feel it creates?
But it might be a couple of tracks. I can't name them offhand that I skipped. Yeah. It was like a couple that I skipped. Mm-hmm. But for me, I give it as a rating. I'll probably give it an 8.
Okay,
definitely. I'll give it an 8.
For me,
like I said, man, he's inspirational, man. I mean, I'll give him an 8. I can't give him a 10 because there's a couple joints that I had to skip.
No, yeah,
but an 8's pretty good, man.
No, yeah,
you know what I mean?
8 solid. Oh shoot, I'm sure people will take it 8. For me, I would say probably about the same. There's, like I said, that Part of My G is my least favorite track.
Yeah, that's the one with Snoop when there was someone smoking and all that shit.
Yeah, I'll say.
you gotta make a drink like that.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say I get it.
The big homie.
Yeah, I get it. You have to have that track on there. But for me, I don't need it. Like just personally, me, I don't need that track. Doubt. Yeah, but I mean, to appeal to the
Leaf head no more, man.
Like I said, I see that it's needed there. I mean, I see why they put it there, and I'm not saying that they should have taken it off. But if I was tailoring this album for me, I would take that track off. But you have to have a club hit. You have to have something that people can vibe to in a more social scenario.
I think it's just one of those things where, like, we from the coast and you gotta have one of them tracks that you reach out to the big homies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just make something for that culture, the LA culture,
that's what I'm saying.
To come through. That's where he's from.
Yeah.
It's like somebody over here that's reaching out to Nas or like Jada Kiss some or Hov if they can get that privilege or whatever. But just to have that on the track, you know what I mean? Like Lupe did it back in the day. You know, you had to get that big homie.
Yeah, when he got that Hov verse. Yeah. No, I definitely. Yeah.
And Hov and Snoop is what Hov is. Snoop is what Hov is today. He is that to the West Coast.
No, yeah,
in my opinion.
No, he is.
He is that.
No,
Snoop is that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is that. Dre would be that if he wasn't so seclusive. Dre stay in the tuck.
Yeah, he's weird. He's Aquarius like me. Sometimes we out. Sometimes we get real weird and closed in. You know what I mean? That's the Aquarius way, man.
Yeah, so
we get weird like that.
100%. And to me, there's no question. Yeah, Snoop is that dude. If Snoop pushes the button for the West Coast, Jay pushes the button for the East Coast.
No doubt.
But I do want to say, for me, this does have a high replayability. I wouldn't say it has as high replayability as other tracks that we've talked about this year. That might change moving forward, I don't know. But as of right now, it does have a high replayability, but not as high as the previous tracks that we've gone through, like Raekwon's The Wild, or I don't know, just several other tracks that been on steady repeat. Actually, there's a couple of lines in the last track that I did want to point out that I felt that stuck out to me as some of the bars that were, I was like, whoa.
Mother America.
Yeah, Mother America. One of them was, I feel a pain like Billy when she sang the blues about the strangest fruit have to have a bite. Blame America for my appetite. I even heard the new KK is Kim, Kylie, and Kanye. Mother America.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that kind of stuck out to me on several aspects of just the KKK line, especially with the things that went down in South Carolina recently.
Word, that was ill.
How our president's rhetoric about that whole event.
Jacket.
Yeah, that too. And just the fact that like Billie Holiday, to me, that's, again, going back to my grandmother, she put me on Billie Holiday at a very early age. So hearing Strange Fruits, like
Strange Fruit is ill, man.
Yeah,
that's one of the best songs ever, man. Word up.
Just even just when somebody just says Strange Fruits, like, it gives me a little bit of chills, like, for a brief second, just because it takes me back to when I first heard Strange Fruit as a child, and just really understanding what is being described in that song. It just hits me. If you haven't heard that song, the original I'm talking about, if you haven't heard the original song, Strange Fruits by Billie Holiday, you need to hear it.
You gotta hear that. That's a hit. That's stuff that you have to hear while you're on this planet.
Yeah.
Word up. That's a history song. Definitely got to hear that.
So again, once you hear that song, I think you really understand what I'm talking about about the feeling that just the mentioning of that brings. And then you take into a fact of Kim, Kylie, and Kanye. Kanye going into Trump's tower, and then again Trump having that same rhetoric about South Carolina afterwards, saying that there was good people on both sides. So when you take that line into account, and then you say Mother America. And then that line, as well as the name of it, where it's Mother America with three Ks in America, takes me also back to Joey Badass's All American Badass, and the same kind of diatribe and soliloquy that he's talking about in that album is spilled over into here, and just again, it's just a lot of things tying into together. And in that particular, just that lyric that I just gave there, just on this song, I think just this was the outstanding song of this album. He wants to be in America, and that we love Mother America. And even taking it to the idea of there's cats that been like beat, raped, like the most despicable things you can think of by their mother or by their parent or by someone that they love, and they still love them. That doesn't mean they accept what they did. That doesn't mean that, they're not going to get themselves out of the situation or whatever it may be, but that they still love them. That's the feel, and that's what I feel he's saying here, is that, America does some of the most horrible things to black people. But at the end of the day,
absolutely,
we still love her. Like we still love America, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be here.
Because we're from here. You know what I'm saying? We were born and raised here.
Yeah, so you feel so you feel like you some connection to it. I mean, because there is a connection.
Like we're part of the country. We made the country, so
exactly. So it's hard to let go of something that you made, even if it doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to be.
I'm not that guy that maybe when I was a kid I was running around on some American pride shit with the flag and all that good old fucking Star Spangled Banner shit. Nah, that dude was gone. You know what I mean? I lost that a long time ago, man. Just by being observant and doing my research and seeing how shit is going on around me, what they do to our people, how they segregate them from. It's still segregation. They put them in certain areas.
Exactly. Gentrification, police brutality,
in the projects and shit. Right.
Institutional racism. He talks about all that on this album.
You don't really get to see the shit.
Yeah. And you're exactly right. As a kid, our parents, our society kind of tries to blind us from that. But let's wrap up this segment, because I know this can take us anywhere, and we might have to do some more episodes, diving into
we're gonna have to
those areas.
We're gonna have to just get that. We're gonna have to have a serious sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah, because I think that would be an interesting episode.
We pretty much agree with the same things.
Yeah. And you're definitely right, and we have different viewpoints about it. But and that's the great thing about having these discussions, is like more people need to have those, because they give you different perspectives. But to going back to Fashawn and to wrap up this album, Manna, I just want to end, and it touches on some of the things you were saying, is this line that he had: it's harder being Dante than it is being Darren Wilson. And if everybody out there knows that Darren Wilson was a cop that shot Alton Sterling. Wait, was it? No, Mike Brown. I'm sorry. That shot Mike Brown, and there was no charges filed on him. So he got off basically free. So just that idea that somebody can kill somebody and there's witnesses and it can be seen is easier than just being a black man. To me, that line spoke volumes.
Yeah.
And so to me, that line kind of encompasses what this album is. It's speaking about a black man's experience and how he feels in America and how difficult that can be, but that we still making it and we still thrive it and we still have the resiliency to keep pushing through. So I thought that was important. I definitely think people should check out this album. I think it is a good album.
Absolutely.
I definitely think the Sean Price album, I think both of these albums you should get for vastly different reasons. They both have bars. They both have very good production.
And I think we're going to get a lot of good albums this year, man. I mean, in the remainder of the year, because the bar has been set.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I mean? You're not just going to throw out some shit now. You should have to be an album in an artistic way, and dope. It has to be that. It's like we're getting back to that now. You're not just going to throw out fucking 10-track bullshit songs. That people are going to have to use their brain, get down, get creative, use skill that the Most High gave to you and produce some good work. And I think the bar has been set. So the beginning of the year, we've been albums come out and they've pretty much been on point. You know what I mean?
You're very right.
Throughout the whole year. I mean, I know of course it's trash out there, but like for the most part, so far this year, we've been having a lot of good projects out there. And I think Sean Price's album both of them give another example of how things should be sounding as if you're going to make an album or you're going to come up with a project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And
I'm salute both of them brothers.
And I want to say, I agree with everything that you said there, and I just want to add on to that. And I think the reason why that, as you said, the tone has been set. The tone has been set, as well as the tone has been set in the aspect of that you can still talk about something, have good music, and people will buy it. People will support you. You
Right.
don't like. I think I felt like there was a notion that if it didn't make you feel good, if it didn't have this vibe, that's the only music that people are gonna buy. And artists have shown, a multitude of artists, I don't want to single anybody out, but a multitude of artists have shown that you can talk about something and people will still buy it.
Right.
It's all about how you present it, and it has to be quality work.
So we can get off that dollar menu snack wrap.
Exactly.
Albums, fucking
Yep.
value meal.
And we can,
dollar menu shit.
and we can get into that
off
culinary. Get off that dollar menu and get to that culinary, that high quality products.
Word.
And I
5-star restaurant dishes and all that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I definitely think that with these albums, you get some of that. So I encourage everybody to go get these 2 albums. I want to say thank you again to Trav. Man, another great discussion with interesting points. And
Thank you, my brother.
No problem, man. And we're definitely going to come back with another West to East Coast segment coming shortly. So check back in. There's going to be a new stable podcast every Friday. Check on Wednesdays. We've been dropping some on Wednesdays. So those are kind of bonus Wednesday episodes. So check on Wednesdays as well. And of course, check the sonicbreakdown.com for the newest articles.
Absolutely.
We have social articles up as well as album reviews and more.
YouTube.
And our YouTube channel. Thank you. Yeah, I forgot about that. We got our YouTube channel.
Subscribe, YouTube. Word.
And coming shortly, we're going to have a lot of new products, or a lot of new things coming in from shows, segments, different things of that nature. So definitely keep checking on that YouTube channel. We got some new things in the works, man. Just stay with us.
You guys are too lazy to download the podcast. It's always YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah.
Type it in, listen to the videos. You know, we appreciate you do all, but just make sure you just get in all platforms. YouTube, iTunes, your Google Play.
Yep.
Podmatic,
Stitcher, all of that.
Stay woke.
So, our motto: live, listen to some great music, and above all, love more. And we out.
Word up. We out of here. Peace and love.